Hello everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology, and this is your astrology reading for the week of December 4th through the 10th. And we're going to be going, well, we'll all experience the moon moving through the signs of Taurus to Cancer, but there's a Gemini full moon coming in there in between. I think it's Wednesday night. Yeah, sure, it's Wednesday night. I think it's like 8:08 or something, 8:09 Pacific time. So, but anyway, let me swap out cameras here and show you these charts. Okay, be right back. Okay, so we have a really big week coming up, but I want to go over the longer term transits so that you've got a backdrop, for the entire week. So what will continue on beyond this week is Pluto with the sextile here to Jupiter. This has to do with opportunities to reclaim your power and get out from under people that seem to have power over you, and for you to find your own power within that experience of life, and to expand beyond it. With Jupiter and Pisces, it will help you open up your field of vision as to possibilities for the future, and to heal false beliefs that have been holding you back for who knows how many lifetimes. These are very powerful, powerful planetary aspects here. And then with, we don't have the Mars square Neptune anymore. We've moved out of that issue, which is good. But we'll have it. It'll revisit. We'll deal with that. Later in a few months when Mars goes direct again. Right now, it's still in that retrograde. But for this week, just remember that the backdrop has so much to do with Pluto sextiling Jupiter, helping us expand, and Neptune in this square to Mercury and Venus. This is pretty much all week long. I'm pretty sure it goes to Venus all week. We'll see as I get further through these charts. But we're leading up to the full moon. Notice the moon is here, and it'll move well beyond, and we'll have the full moon here on Wednesday. So that's kind of exciting, I think. So with Neptune back to the square between Mercury and Venus, this to me gives me the feeling, because of this combination here between Mars opposing the Sun. So this whole like stellium in Sag and the aspects to Mars in Gemini, and then up to Saturn in Aquarius, I think I can, in a nutshell, say, and then also tying in Chiron trining the Sun, and Chiron in this, which is all week and beyond, it goes into next year, Chiron in the quincunx to the South Node. I think I can tie the whole thing together with a simple statement that has to do with people in your life, or people on the news, or people in power are saying things, but do their actions match their words? And if they're lying, and if they have been lying for quite some time, what is going to, okay, if it's a personal relationship, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to just break away, or do you have to say something? Or how are you going to, deal with that? And I would never try and tell somebody how to deal with things. I'm in personal readings and sessions. I'm only here to help you through it, and see where it might go if you stay in it or if you don't. Things like that, taking advantages of opportunities. But when it comes to this stellium and Sag up here, it's all guided towards following your intuition. It's guided towards, it's directional. Sagittarius energy well, it's ruled by Jupiter, and with the square from Jupiter and Neptune we have going on with Venus and Mercury. All of that, in a nutshell, I feel like, it's all about, I'm going this direction. Do you want to go with me? Or they're going in that direction and it's not the direction I want to go. I want to go the other way, or any other way than the way they're going, right? So we're in the realm of leadership, being the leaders of our own lives, and we're in the realm of, who goes with us or who no longer is anywhere near us. It can be as bad as that, and all the shades in between, right? Because like I was starting to say, with Sagittarius, we're wanting to be free. It's all about freedom, and with the South Node in Scorpio, it's all about who do we trust and who do we value, and do we trust ourselves and do we value ourselves enough to break free. We have everything that we need as far as the outer planetary transits, in order to reinvent ourselves if need be, or to continue to just free ourselves up and find a new direction, or continue on the path that we've been working on and find more and more freedom. Everything's here for that. And that's especially true with the North Node here at 13 degrees Taurus in conjunct to the Sun, especially for this weekend. And on some other levels, you can see that we have this nice flow of energy between Saturn and Mars. But again, for some people, that will just be, the contact points or the connections to just, lie some more. Because some people, Mercury has to do with communication, and some people just, with their values going in the wrong direction, they can be very dogmatic and self-righteous and think that they're the only ones that know which way to go. And if anybody's telling you how to run your life or live your life, you would want to question, like, why? Why would somebody want to control you like that? What's that about? There's all these reasons it could be. But the most simplest reasons usually are, there's that tie-in of manipulating others in order to feel powerful, because they don't really have a connection to their own power, which is love. Like if our power isn't aligned with our love, then we're not going to know peace. And if we don't have peace inside, we're putting our power out trying to manipulate others. And, money's tied up in that. A lot of people, they just want to have a lot of money so that they can control others with it. Or they think that they need so much money because otherwise they're not safe. Yeah. So there's a lot. So anyway, Neptune, even though we have this square going on, at least it's direct. It's no longer retrograde, but it's still in that shadow phase until the end of next March. So we still have quite some time with that. Pluto here in this nice sextile, sextile means opportunities. So the opportunity to come into your power and expand on your power and open up like never before and move forward bravely, boldly, whatever that old saying was. So, is that Star Trek? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a Trekkie. But anyway, with this aspect here, this we have until January 6th going on. Now this square here, this is not even all week long. I think the square from Jupiter to Venus is square. Now this could have to do more with like women's women's rights. But Mercury moves so much faster, and it'll be into Capricorn, I think, by Thursday or Friday. But so this later degrees of, or the last days, I should say, of Mercury and Venus hanging out together in Sag is really a wonderful time to get clear on the direction you want to go in your life, and like I was saying, who you want to go with, or what group of people you want to be with. With Saturn in Aquarius, there's a lot of strong, stable foundations that can be created that are good, for you and humanity, or a group of people that help each other heal. And like I was saying, for a lot of people, we're going to be witnessing the lies, but we also have the opportunity to hold them accountable with Saturn up here in Aquarius, no longer retrograde. It's still in the retro shade, though. Let me see how long does that last? Until January 26th. It has to get to 25 degrees Aquarius before it's out of the retro shade. So that's coming up pretty soon. What else? What else that is lasting for sure all week? This opposition here from the Sun to Mars is all week long. We can tell that by the degrees here, because the Sun is at 12, and it's going to move pretty much a degree every day. With that opposition to Mars, again, it's like, okay, they're talking, they're saying things, but do their actions match their words? Do these jive? And if so, then you're listening, or you're with someone you can trust. And if they don't, if the actions and words don't match, then there are decisions that need to be made, right? Because then you know that you don't trust them. But then again, sometimes you trust yourself enough to know who. Well, it's always back to trusting yourself, because you get to figure out who you trust. And if you trust yourself to know who that is, or how you don't trust them, then and the ways that you can trust them, then you know what you have, right? Like, there are some people you wouldn't loan your car to, right? But you can trust them with many other things. It all depends, right? So let's see, what else for the rest for this week? So for the weekly overview, for sure it's Saturn, and that flow. So government, rules, regulations, and ways that we are mastering our own lives. Wherever Saturn is wherever 20 degrees Aquarius is in your chart, that's where Saturn is. And we're all having this opportunity to learn more. Gemini is all about learning and negotiating, talking things through, questioning things from different angles would tie into trying to figure out how to structure something that you're trying to create. Like, what's the best way to go about it? And this is a long-term, type of a thing, because Mars is in Gemini. Let's see, I think I have my dates here. Oh, yeah. Mars went retrograde October 30th. It's retrograde until January 12th, and goes all the way back to 8 degrees. And then it's going to take until March 15th next year to get out of that shade, because to 25, and it's at 17. So we're in this process until March of next year. What did I say? March 15th. Yeah. So March 15th of next year. And Saturn's pretty much just going to sit there, right? And so this is a very long term, like, back and forth. So this is a great time. This, this holiday season and through to next spring, it's a really good time to learn, to create some very stable foundation that can help you be more free than you've ever been before. And with the square to Uranus, that's what it's all about. We're all, and this is lasting until this tight orb lasts from the square from Saturn to Uranus until December 12th. And then then the trine to Mars, let's see. Yeah, that's the 4th. Yeah, so we're talking, I'm hearing the words arbitrary authority. So anyone who's trying to come from a position of authority, but there's no rules about it, and it's just like this wild card, and this is like Elon Musk buying Twitter, and now he's the guy in charge, but he's just batshit crazy. It's like that. And you're like, what? I mean, like currently, he's fired so many people, and they don't have, under the control of Elon Musk right now with Twitter, they're now giving out false COVID info. So that would bring in the Neptune square, Mercury. Yeah, God love astrology, right? And Jupiter, disseminating information's here, disseminating in a big way lies, right? Mercury square Neptune can be lies, not always, but it can be either the ways we lie to ourselves or don't understand. It can, at the very least, well, usually it's confusion, right, with the square. Mercury square Neptune can, if you have that in your natal chart, you can have a childhood that's very, very confusing, and then when you grow up, you have to work through that. If you have Neptune square Mercury in your chart, doesn't mean you're a liar, doesn't mean that you've been deceptive, but it means that you definitely had because Mercury's our environment, and if you have a square to Neptune, it's like it's confusing to you. And that's, to me, when anybody I've ever witnessed go through that, that's because their parents don't know what's going on, or between the parents, because the child is in the middle of two parents, and if the parents aren't in alignment, then the child doesn't feel safe, and if the child doesn't feel safe, they're like, all the time. It's confusing. It's a very confusing reality to live in. So but back to Elon Musk, and and I was feeling into the lies and all of this, and remembering that I heard on the news that he's now giving out this false COVID information, and there are no checks for child endangerment or child pornography. So what's Twitter going to turn into? Right? I mean, it's like, what? So yeah. So there's that. And this is going on all week. We'll have this all week between Venus and Mercury to Neptune and Jupiter, right? That's a lot. And it's basically, what will we stand for with Saturn trining Mars here? And what will we put up with, especially by the time that full moon comes in? Man. So the North Node here in this in conjunct to the Sun, or quincunx, whenever I say in conjunct or quincunx, or you see this green line, just remember the code word for that is adjustment. There's an adjustment. The Sun is shining a light saying, hey, you can go this way. And but you're going to have to make an adjustment to go in the direction that you want to go in. This is both of these, this aspect is very directional, but it's going to lead you to more pleasure, more happiness, more bliss. It's going to lead you to more safety and self, value. It's going to lead you basically to where you want to go. But, in feeling into these charts for the week, there was a theme that kept coming through, and I kept hearing, pick your battles. That Venus and Mercury are leading the way, to help you find your direction, especially with that culmination of the full moon coming in, right? But you're going to have to pick your battles, and when I say that, I mean, like, speak up for yourself if you need to, speak up for yourself or your loved ones, and or, to protect someone or protect yourself if you need to. But otherwise, I don't know, it might just turn into a mental spin, because there's a lot of information out there spinning around, and it's just a lot. It's like, do you want to deal with that? Yeah. So that's pretty much for the overview for the week. Now for that opportunity there to heal the past, that's hanging in there for quite some time. But for the day, the moon in Taurus here, we have a nice trine up here to Mercury. So remember, Mercury is all about communication. It helps us to negotiate. It helps us to figure out what's really going on. Helps us to analyze things. And with Venus there, we'll feel better when we know what's really going on. We always do, right? But we'll feel like, okay, now I've got something I can believe in. Because above all, Jupiter and Sag try to help us to find meaning in our lives, and we can't really find meaning unless we know what the truth is. And we have to figure out where to invest our energy. And Mars is here in Gemini in an opposition, right? And remember, the oppositions are confrontations with reality, but it can lead you to a breakthrough. When you have a mirror here, and when you're looking in the mirror, it can lead to a breakthrough, because it's like, oh, I didn't see that before. Or somebody's mirroring something to you, or they're saying something to you, or they're doing things, and you're going, I don't feel met. This isn't a mirror to who I truly am, so I'm out of here. It's directional, right? Because if the words and actions don't match up. So back to the moon in Taurus. The moon in Taurus, you're going to want pleasure, you're going to want safety, you're going to want faithfulness in your life, you're going to want to hold on to something that really matters. That's why I was saying, pick your battles is what I was feeling. But notice this little semi-square here to Mars. This brings in that need to actually do something. So if somebody's saying something and it's a lie, and it's triggering your bullshit meter, because we've got a really good bullshit meter going on here. If your intuition is telling you that this person's lying, then you know what to do with that, because you know that you can't trust them, because above all, the polarity going on with the nodes has to do with trust. And because Scorpio South Node wants to trust. Otherwise, we can create crisis, and we don't like secrets. Unless you're keeping a secret for someone because they asked you to, then that's a completely different thing. And there's a difference between privacy and secrecy. A secrecy to control others in a dark way is not what the polarity between Taurus and Scorpio likes. But, we're talking power, control dynamics sometimes, and within sex scandals, money scandals, all of that, we're going to be seeing all of that. We have been seeing all of that. So, but anyway, in our personal lives, again, this is just, you're not going to feel right if you're hearing lies, and you're going to have to do something about that, because it requires an action when you're going to have to either speak up or walk away. When we have a semi-square between the moon and Mars. And you can see that we have the same, but it's a double semi-square from coming off of Jupiter to the North Node in Uranus. And Uranus, again, wants to help you break free. But with Jupiter, it brings in the North Node. So this is very directional when it comes comes to freedom that helps you to heal, freedom that helps you to believe in something bigger than yourself. And again, like I said, can we just trust that the universe has your back? Can we trust that the universe can help you get through anything you need to get through? And especially with the sun up here in Sag, shining the light, and then with the quincunx to the North Node, shining the light to help you go in the right direction. And Mercury is up here bringing in information to help you figure out something from the past, and then take whatever action necessary to get you going in a better direction. Because Mercury pretty soon is going to move into Capricorn. And so let's see. And the Sun, we also have a semi-square from the Sun to Pluto. And again, shining the light as far as like the direction you want to go in. That would be more free. It's going to help you to speak up. It's going to help you to believe in yourself more. But with that semi-square to Pluto, if that's not in your life, or you've got somebody that's in like religious dogma or this whole patriotic, bullshit, like, oh, my country's better than yours, or this or that, you're going to see that as like, well, what's that about? And there's an adjustment that needs to be made there, or some action that needs to be taken, because it's like nobody wants to be with that. But on a personal level, it could be that there's action needed. Now that you know the direction you want to go, the action that you're taking it because it will lead you to more integrity, your own inner authority, which is your inner integrity. And then with the moon here in Taurus, we can see that we have a square to Pluto for this morning. And so, these are both earth signs. So again, it feels to me like power dynamics based on safety is what's on the table for early in the morning on Sunday. Or it might not be safety, it might be pleasure, right? Like somebody first thing in the morning might be wanting you to do something for them, and you might not want to. Or you want them to do something for you and they don't want to, like, things like that. You might be, or it could even be a situation like you're trying to feel into with the moon, because the moon's really sensitive, and this is just the personal level for what I'm speaking to now. You might be really sensitive on a physical level to how much power someone has over you. Like, for instance, if you're a new mom, you might be amazed at the psychic connection, because Pluto often is all about, because it's deep in the soul, the psychic connection that you have to your baby, and your spidey senses are picking up on like, oh, my baby needs me, but it's like, oh, I don't really want to get up, but you can, you're waking up, something's happening in dream time, or you're, so deeply connected, And it's a little surprising, but it turns into a strength. At first it's like, wait, what? Do I trust myself? What's going on? Or the hair goes up on the back of your neck when you walk by somebody and you're like, oh, I wouldn't feel safe with that person. I'm just going to hurry and go. Or your intuition is telling you, I wouldn't be safe to go to that party or that event or whatever, and so you don't. But it's a little challenging at first because you want to go or you are invited, things like that. That can be the issue because the moon connects to things and is very intuitive. It helps you intuit a situation, and then it helps you from that figure out how to respond. And it's also can be nurturing, but with Taurus it's usually like it's very tactile, like the skin and all the senses the being in the body brings in, right? Which is everything. Now on the political level, because it is Pluto in Capricorn, and we're talking about people in power sometimes, is what I'm talking about a lot of times, I should say. With the square to the moon rules the public. So something could come out on Sunday about something in the public. Or it could, come out into the public sphere about somebody in a position of power or a government situation. Yeah. I mean, things are coming out every day, right? It's like nobody can keep up is the deal. I mean, I can't anyway. You end up just swimming in so much information. It's like, oh yeah, I did hear that. Was that today? Was that yesterday? Was that last week? When was that? Where am I? Especially me, because I'm always like way ahead, in these charts. Like I'm doing this on Thursday and I'm talking about Sunday. And then I go, wait, what's today? Let's see, anything else for this overview? The little sesco squares, I don't really know that they're worthwhile talking about. They're just kind of stubborn energy, but they pass quickly because we're talking about a really minor. Yeah. I think that's good for the weekly overview. Okay, so on Monday we can see that the moon has already passed over. Well, it's actually exact, pretty much. To the North Node. So again, everything I was saying about directionally knowing which way you need to go, this is actually really beautiful. We have a stellium here of Taurus energy. So again, remember, Taurus is everything about what you value, what makes you feel safe, your own principles, right? And so this morning, you're not really going to want to be rushed with the moon in Taurus and the North Node in Taurus, but with Uranus there, you're more aware than ever before. And with the moon now in this opposition to the South Node, it can help you heal something from the past. It can really help you balance out something from the past and help you transform anything that needs to be worked with. And with this triple quincunx here to the sun, it could be that there's something out, or it could be literally like outdoors. Being outdoors, going for a walk, is just the adjustment you need to help you wake up. Like if you're feeling stagnant at all, and that can be, sometimes with Taurus and sometimes even with, well, any sign, we can all get stagnant, but especially us empaths, we can get distracted into the feeling realm and then realize, oh, wait, I can get stuck here if I don't use my common sense and, but you can find meaning out of something when we have the sun in Sag shining that spotlight. And it can really, with this inconjunct here, the adjustment would help us to break free on an emotional level. So I feel like this is about breaking free from emotional reactiveness from the past because of these aspects here. So remember, when you break free of emotional reactions, so emotional reactions are going to be aggression, which is passive aggressive. So this could happen the way it works with astrology, or actually any type of divination. Is I will either be talking about something about you, or something that comes to you from the outside, or something about me, or something, meaning it's like either we're working on something from within to the outer realm. And if we do that, if we come from the inside, then it just releases the need for the outer world to bring it to us for a lesson, because we're already working on it from a position of power. But if we're moving through life feeling like a victim, or feeling like we don't, well, if we're moving through life not knowing our own power, then the life just has to teach us until we wake up to that point where we realize, oh, wait, I'm doing this. I'm the one holding myself back. I'm the one hiding, or I'm the one pushing. So basically the emotional reactions inside of us will force us to manipulate reality, and it'll either come through aggression, putting ourselves out there, being too pushy, but there's also covert aggression, which I call passive aggression. It's still aggression, and that's where you're manipulated, trying to manipulate others. So there's aggression, and then there's submission. So sometimes that's like giving to get, but why do we do that? We have to figure those things out. And then there's withdrawal, which is where we just say, fuck it, basically, right? And then from there, we're not showing up. And from there, we're going to experience rejection, but we're actually, when that happens, when we are just saying forget about it, and we're in withdrawal, sometimes we're healing, like an animal that gets hurt and has to go hide for a while until it can shake it off and it's, clearing out its trauma. But if we're doing it as a pattern, what happens is that we're rejecting ourselves, and then we're rejecting others, and we're going to get nothing but rejection, and we're going to feel very lonely, right? Because if we're not connecting with others, we're all interdependent on each other. We need each other. But we need to come to that interaction with each other from a place of pleasure, the pleasure of knowing who we are, and then we connect with the pleasure of each other. And then we're mirroring all that love and pleasure. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't need to be manipulative. So, but if and when and as we clear out our emotional reactions from the past, which would be, as the South Node is traveling through our charts, we're all having these opportunities. So wherever 13 degrees Scorpio is in your chart, we're all having the opportunity to heal the past in an area of your life. So let's say it's in the 7th house. If it's in your 7th house, then you're healing relationships. If it's in your 6th house, it could be your work and your service, or your health, or just your daily routine. If it's in the 5th, it could be your creativity, or it could be helping you with your kids. And 4th house, home, foundation, and on and on. But anywho, when you've healed your emotional reactiveness that comes from the past, then your feelings are flowing freely, and they guide you in the right direction. And they change, and you're suddenly not so afraid, or not suddenly, it's actually a gradual process, but you're no longer afraid to feel anything. Like, it's okay. You don't mind getting really angry because it's just like, oh, okay, let's take a deep breath, let that go. Or you don't mind feeling afraid because you just kind of move through it and either do it anyway, or it's a real fear to pay attention to and you run, or you're feeling grief or pain or emotional pain, and it's like, after you go through that pain, you feel so much more alive. So you go through life no longer resisting life, literally. And from that, there comes your high-functioning intuition, which is what Sag is all about. After going through the depths of Scorpio, and Scorpio people are good at going deep, but then coming through, we're all going to have, even if you don't have anything in any planets in Sag, you have Jupiter somewhere in your chart. So that's the same energy and consciousness. So, and even if you don't have, if you have empty houses, don't even worry about that in your chart, because you go by the cusp, the signs on the cusp, and you put, like, let's say this is your chart. You don't have anything in 7th house. Well, you have a Libra descendant and Scorpio on the 7th and 8th. So it's like you would put Venus and Pluto in your 7th house. And then you would look in your chart and see where Venus and Pluto actually are, and then you connect all those dots. So that's kind of one way to read it. But so for this day, for Monday, let me see if I feel complete here. We've covered the opposition. That's all week. The moon is just the inconjunct. Oh, hold on. We're going to talk about, oh yeah, right. Saturn square Uranus, where I was talking about that need to be free and take self-responsibility for being free, because that's really the only way you create freedom in your life, and that ability to reinvent yourself and lay those new solid foundations where you're thinking outside the box and it can just grow and grow and grow, right? Because that's the way the laws of love work. They're benign and they grow, they expand and expand. And then negativity is the opposite. It has to fold in on itself at some point to break through. But anyway, Saturn in this square to Uranus is now bringing in the moon. So the moon will bring in some intuitive awareness, some more awareness as to how to free yourself up and reinvent yourself if need be, or continue forward going in the right direction and more freedom. It'll be more of the good stuff. So, okay, so now I feel complete there. So let's look at Tuesday. If I get the charts apart, there we go. Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. I flipped the chart to 7 a.m. Oh, no, wait. Why do I have two charts? Yeah, I screwed up. Well, what's different? Nothing. It's only an hour later. Well, but now here's an interesting thing. Notice how we have that triple adjustment, but an hour later at 7 a.m. we only have the moon is out of, yeah. So it's really early in the morning. Got to be a great morning for meditation. Well, every morning is a good morning for meditation, but there could be some major breakthrough by 7 a.m. So if you can plan meditation from 6 to 7 a.m. Oh, no, I'm sorry, this is 7 p.m. What am I doing? Oh, yeah, that's right. So it's not an hour, it's an entire 12-hour period. So, wow, okay, so this is probably a big day. Oh, I know why I did this, because we have an exact square. Look at that. The moon is in an exact square to Saturn. Okay. Yeah. So 7 p.m. So it's still good to meditate. It's always good to meditate in the morning. But by 7 p.m., I'm feeling like a major aha moment that's come through. And it could be as to where you've been holding yourself back, but now you know where you are, you know where you stand. There's something solid and stable about this, even though there's that tension field. Because for the moon to have moved even 5 degrees away, that's yeah, that's good to know. So that's a good opportunity to know that there's that 12, 13-hour window between the morning and the evening to really break free and then have a strength, a deeper level of inner strength. So, okay, so now I'll go forward, although I do like this. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's talk about this for a second. Because that's not in the, is that in the morning one? No, it's not. Cool, okay. So this is good. So see this, the sextile to Pluto, Jupiter sextile Pluto, that's there all week and beyond. But this sextile here from Neptune to the moon, that's really important because there's an opportunity. This is a nice opportunity here between these two planets to, there's artistic, there's creative, very creative. So any type of art that you create, which can just be the art of creating your own life, you know, the moon is connected there. So nice. Yeah, you know what? Maybe the best way to work with it would be to meditate in the morning. Maybe you try an experiment where you meditate in the morning about how you want your whole day to go. And, you know, of course, I always like to put in the default to God and my guides, you know, to help me have the best, help me create the best opportunities and have, you know, create the best experiences. But also, if I need to meet a level of frustration, or I need to meet a level of pain, or I need to meet whatever feelings I need to meet in order to heal, I want to do that too, right? So that means if I have a bad 30 minutes or 10 minutes or even a week or whatever, I haven't had that in a long time, but that's how it goes. You start out on your healing path having terrible months. And then pretty soon they turn into, you have breakthroughs and you have healing. And then pretty soon you have maybe a bad week. And then maybe it's just a day. And then it turns out you can move through something within hours. And then after that, it's like minutes, right? But if something sticks with you, when you stop pushing the feelings away, but then also don't let them control you. So if you, let's say you track a negative pattern in yourself, or you're like sniffing something out and you are on that, you know, you're trying to figure out what's going on because it's all about tracking patterns. Then once you figure out what it is, there's no reason to keep beating yourself up. There's no reason ever to beat yourself up. There is never any reason to punish yourself for anything. It's just about figuring out where you're out of alignment with the laws of love, basically. And then from there, you know, everything can work out. But you also, so it's like you don't want to whitewash your lower self that's pulling you down a rabbit hole of judgment and whatever else is going on. But you also don't want to skate over it, right? You want to figure out what it is. And so that balance, it's always about balance between the two. And because of the North and South Node here, I think, you know, with the South Node in Scorpio, that's what can bring us into the depths to heal. But then with Uranus and the Moon in the North, especially the North Node in Taurus, even when the Moon moves forward, Uranus in Taurus is still there saying, hey, but wake up to all the pleasure of life. Yeah, it can be hell sometimes, but it's also pleasure. Yeah, there's pain, but it's also pleasure. It's not either or, it's and on Earth. But, you know, we come from this realm that's 100% pleasure, and then on Earth it's not. It's just not. And we tend to, it's a very normal human thing that we all do, where we tend to judge ourselves harshly. We tend to make ourselves feel inadequate, or, you know, like there's something wrong with us, or lacking, or like why why can't I do this? Why can't I have that? They have that. Why can't I have it? And then we judge ourselves because we don't have what other people have. Right there, we're violating a spiritual law because we're never supposed to compare ourselves to someone else, because we each have our own unique individual life path. And maybe it's just a timing issue when it comes to having certain things. But whether we have things or not doesn't make us better or less than anyone else. It's just a something that's going on in life, and there's no judgment. So anyway, is there anything else for this evening? I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. Like freeing ourselves from this old conditioning from the past, so that we can move forward in a much more pleasurable way. Okay, and then a little later on, though, you can see how the moon, I do love this. So look how the moon's in an exact square to Saturn, so it can feel like these emotional limitations, right? But then, as it moves forward, it's going to be an exact trine to Pluto. So later on in the evening. So even maybe like if you go to bed early even, you could have some powerful dream that can help. Or if you stay up late, things will get better too, I think. I think it'll be a good evening as you move forward. Now, of course, adjust your time zone accordingly, because that's Pacific time. But yeah. But the moon trining Pluto, even though it's squaring Saturn, it helps bring in your power. And that, like I was saying, that trine there is also the sextile to Jupiter, and then the sextile from Neptune. So there's a lot of spiritual support for healing going on here, and to come back into your integrity, back into your authority. Your natural authority is your integrity. Okay, so then Tuesday morning, so the moon's here at 26 degrees Taurus, and we've got that inconjunct straight up to Venus. So that connection there brings in the need to figure out, or actually, I think, to put it in a nutshell, I don't think it's saying figuring out. I think it's the need to trust your intuition. To just trust your intuition. So you may have an experience, because oftentimes Sag brings in experiences, as does Jupiter. But all of life is experience, right? We're always experiencing something. But I feel like there's a more of a body awareness of the right way to go for you individually. And then notice how the sun here is at 14 degrees. I have my little notes here. The sun is in this inconjunct. So we have the one inconjunct up here, and then this other one I didn't fill in because I didn't want to, take away the emphasis from the moon. But now focusing here from Uranus, we have the inconjunct up to the sun. In the north node, we have the inconjunct up to the sun. So the inconjunct quincunx adjustment that would need to be made. So this one adjustment is about trusting your body, trusting your empathic body that's trying to teach you something or guide you, literally. And then Uranus and the north node is there's something that's going to be there's a spotlight on something, and you're going to be made aware of something that can help you on your path. That's really beautiful there. So make sure that you don't miss that. And then see how, remember I was talking about the moon trine to Pluto? That's there in the morning, like I said it would be. And we'll continue on. But that's an exact trine by 6 a.m. Pacific. So this makes for beautiful dream time, and that double sextile going on here, that's even tighter with the moon between Jupiter. So everything I said about that evening is emphasized even more so in the morning. Awesome. Okay, now we have the Gemini full moon. Now we fast forwarded to 8:07 p.m. the next Wednesday. So I've blown past the moon in the morning, and we're now at 8:07 p.m. Pacific time with the moon in exact opposition to the sun, which is what a full moon is. And a full moon is always a culmination, but this time we have Mars. So with Mars, we're bringing in that energy of activating something, motivating us in a bigger way than ever, because the moon is there. So the moon is the full moon especially is connecting us to what we're really motivated for. So, and the sun, the bright light of the sun is shining. So the question to me is like, what really motivates me? Why does that motivate me? What is, right? Like, question your motivations is what I'm trying to say. When it comes to Gemini, it's always about questioning and learning, and Mars is all about motivations. What are your emotional motivations? What are your intuitive motivations? What motivates you and why? And you can do so much healing just around that. If you just ask yourself that question, like, why do I want that? Why do I want to do that? Why do I have to have, like for me, it would be like, why do I have to have my house cleaned before I can sit down and do what I'm really supposed to do? Why do I have to have the laundry done before I can sit down and study? Things like that. My youngest used to say, Mom, the house police won't come while we're gone. Like I wouldn't go and have fun. Like we wouldn't go to the movies till the house was clean, right? And he'd be the college kid that could study with, it's like he'd put the laundry off. It's like, just give me something to study. And then that justifies the need to not do laundry, but it would still pile up. We're at polar opposites. That's the difference between a Cancer and a Capricorn. So, so anyway, the difference here between the polar opposites of Gemini and Sag, which is what a full moon always brings up, is Gemini wants to question and learn everything so that it knows which direction to go. Sag wants to just go and trust its instincts, and it has the courage coming off of, the other three fire signs, which are Aries and Leo. Aries is like impulsively just moving. Leo has the courage. And Sag knows where it wants to go. And, oh, you know what? I know what I missed. Oh, hold on. Maybe it's in here, because I thought I ran a chart for when Venus... Hold on. Bear with me. Squirrel. Yeah. Friday. Oh, I'm looking at Mercury and getting confused. Yeah, that's Venus. When Venus moves into Capricorn. Yeah, that's Friday. Okay. Sorry about that. There we go. So, but I guess just hold that in space, because I hold that in your consciousness, because I do believe that there aren't really any mistakes. So with that full moon, we're at a culmination of learning and gathering information. And Mercury, newly into Capricorn, is, so that happened in between, right? Let's see, Monday. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So it's because I flipped so far forward. I should have ran a chart for in between, but I'll talk about it now. So see how Tuesday morning, Mercury's at 29. Well, it needed to get to 29.59 before it could move to 0 degrees. So Mercury moving from Sag into Capricorn. Mercury in Sag is talking and going in a certain direction. But Capricorn brings in that quality of, now we're getting somewhere concrete, and if we're not, we don't like it. Because Mercury and Capricorn doesn't want to talk about it anymore. It wants that control put in place. So basically, like I said before earlier in the week, if you have someone in your life that's talking and the actions don't match the words, or it's all talk and no action, by this time you're like, wait a minute, right? And especially with the square, Mercury squaring Neptune, it's like, are you lying or are you just, right? And Venus squaring Jupiter, you won't invest your energy in it anymore. So things are moving forward. And I think on the political sphere, what we're going to witness is, we know who the liars are, and we've had it. We're done with it, right? Like for Trump to have a social media platform called Truth Social is the biggest joke in the world, because he, the whole time he was president, which he never should have been, how he became president was just a big lie, a big clusterfuck of Russia. Excuse me for my French there, or why am I blaming the French? Sorry for my potty mouth, but he never should have gotten into the White House. And we are going through all these years of how to correct that situation that never should have happened in the first place. But it did. And now we're dealing with the, how to disempower dictators, how to fight dictators, how to make sure that we don't have an autocratic communistic country where someone just installs himself and then they're in control, right? And these are all these things that we're talking about. The planetary alignment just couldn't be any better. Our planetary transits, movements couldn't be any better for depicting what we've been going through. So with this full moon, we have a tremendous awareness. The light is shining in a way that so wherever 16 degrees falls in your natal chart in Sag, there's a spotlight, and you have the reflection of the moon wherever 16 degrees Gemini is in your chart. You have this polarity, and it will help you not only question your motivations, but also question others, because when you know yourself, it helps you to understand others. And that's what's going on here with you. Can you see this? We have that opposition here, but then we have the moon and Mars squaring Neptune. So Mars has, we had that square, but Mars has moved out of it, but the moon is now brought in another little, well, wonder about that. And you can see the T-square up here between Venus and Jupiter, and Mercury to Neptune. Again, is it confusing anymore? Or do we just finally know that some people are outright liars and they are not to be trusted because they're bought and paid for by Russia? Or money laundering, the whole, as Sarah Kensingdor has called it years ago, the transnational money laundering crime syndicate. So the sun with the bright light here and the quincunx to Uranus here is showing us what we need to adjust. So again, in your personal life, if their actions don't match their words, or if they're lying, or if you're lying to yourself because you want them to be somebody that they're not, and they've been showing you who they are, trust that discrepancy needs to be addressed. And then with so the full moon's doing a lot here. Besides its natural opposition to the sun, it's also blowing up Mars. It's attaching to all of this mental stimulation. There's a lot of energy here. This might not be one of those full moons that you get to sleep very well in. If you do, tell me your secrets, as long as it doesn't involve drugs or alcohol. Melatonin helps, but it can only take really small doses, and I tend to forget about it and then sleep through it, and I'm okay. But with Saturn trining, the Saturn trine Mars has been there all week, but now the moon is involved. So I really feel like there's I honestly feel like something's happened between Tuesday and Wednesday, and there are news dumps, and the newscasters, which that's the polarity here, and here, oh my goodness, they're trying to make sense of it all, and I generally never watch the news at night because it's too much. I don't, it's not something I want to take into dream time with me. I tend to, just wait till in the morning. But it's looking like there might be something that comes through late at night. And for you night owls, I'm a morning person, but if you're a night owl, this could be, it could be good for ideas to come through for you that helps you to solidify something you've been trying to build in your life. There's that very real possibilities. So if you're okay with naps and you have, if you're a good napper and you've stayed up all night, then so be it, right? So there is so much going on with this full moon. Anything else? So the square to Neptune, and it's going to get tighter. So notice how the moon's at 16, Neptune's at 22, and as the moon moves forward, it's going to be a tighter orb to Neptune. And we all know that the moon square Neptune can be very confusing. And the Neptune up here squaring, Jupiter squares Venus. Yeah, Neptune squaring, let's see, hold on. It's like there's two. Yeah, Neptune. So Neptune's squaring both. So there's a possibility of mental confusion and how to expand and what to believe. Yeah. I have a feeling that the newscasters are going to be trying to figure something out. Or they're just going to be giving us so much information, our heads are going to be spinning. And this is 8:07 p.m. Pacific, so that's 11, and it's a buildup, right? And so that's 11 Eastern or 9 Atlantic, and there's a lot. Let's see, is there anything else with this full moon? For you guys personally, just look and see where this polarity is happening in your chart. And then also see where Neptune is. And those are going to be the three houses that are the most important. Those houses will relate to an area in your life. And that's where you're going to have the most power and illumination and ability to move forward, because we've got what's the word? Crescendo, it feels like. We have a culmination of, it could be something very, very creative, but could also, for some people, be very confusing. And then, like I said, with the sun in the trine to Chiron, all week. It's really, really good for healing. It's a great flow of energy for healing. And also with the quincunx too, the South Node, so good for healing the past. And with the trine to Sag, I think part of the healing with that can be to help you not only believe in yourself, but open up in ways that you hadn't thought of in the past. So, okay, so let's go ahead and move forward to Thursday. So Thursday, you can see the moon's still here in Gemini. And so now we have an opposition straight up here to Venus. Well, it's not exact. The moon's at 22 early in the morning. Oh, 9 a.m. I put it at 9 a.m. so that, yeah, oh, that's right, because of the sextile. Or, I mean, I'm sorry, the aspect of the architect here. So the trine and the sextile. So anyway, so the moon here puts us in that opposition to Venus at 22, but you'll see that when it gets to 28, it'll be an exact. So the moon in an opposition to Venus can be a breakthrough. It can be a confrontation at first, but it can be a breakthrough with a way to reconcile something inside where your motivations, want to go one way and your mind is holding you back in another, and you've figured it out, and then you have a breakthrough. So any place that you're afraid to go, any place, and when I say place, I mean state of mind, state of, experience, having something in life. If you've been battling anything inside, I'm feeling like after this full moon, you'll be able to break free and have some more, have some greater clarity and have some more stability in, in just deep inside of who you truly are. Let's see. And the Venus, yeah, there's still this square because this is all week long, right? Venus square Jupiter. So it's helping you to get in touch with what really matters to you. And like I said, don't succumb to having to fight your way through it. Pick your battles. Again, pick your battles. There's so much about picking your battles. And then with the double trine up here to Saturn, that can help solidify. So there can be a deeper learning and then greater control, because now you really know how something works, whatever it is that you've been studying, or whatever the project is you've been working on. Then with this aspect of the architect from the sun, there's a greater opportunity to go in the direction that you want to go in, to have that freedom to speak up, to have faith in yourself, to explore somewhere, to have more meaning in your life, to have more purpose in your life. The only way we can get into trouble here with the, because we do have some of the squares and oppositions, right? The only way we can get into trouble here is if you're not believing in yourself, and if you're stuck with or in a relationship with somebody who's like in a cult, or someone who's lying to you, or someone who's pushing their religious dogma on you and telling you that this is how you live your life. If there's any of that going on, you're not going to like it, and it's going to hold you back. But I see freedom here, and especially emotional freedom, which you have to have. Have to have a mental and emotional freedom before you can really have physical freedom. That's how it works. Okay, what else? That little semi-square there is calling my attention. There's some action that needs to be taken to free up from the past this morning, or noontime in East Coast, or Eastern. Let's see, anything else? Opposition there, square. Yeah, the moon. We have a double square coming from the moon to Neptune and Jupiter. So the moon is squaring both Neptune and Jupiter. So again, there could be confusion around, it could be one of those weird things, those things like Trump always does, or not always, but often does, where he just like calls himself out without, he doesn't even realize what he's doing. Like if he's going to run for president in 2024, doesn't that mean that he actually lost in 2020? But he's also saying that he didn't lose in 2020 and Joe Biden stole the election? Well, if that's the case, then why aren't you in the White House? You know what I mean? But yeah, whatever. Stuff like that. If any of that's going on in your life, I think you've just had it. But you might hear it, right? And especially with the North Node in Taurus, Taurus rules the hearing and the jaw. So, yeah. And adjustments abound, or actions need to be taken to get out of that kind of energy. So we know what we do when he comes on TV. We just mute him. Yeah, and I've heard newscasters say that they regret giving him so much power, so much voice. But there certainly is a tracking of how many times he lied. I thought it was well up over 30,000 when he was in the White House. Again, which he never should have been. But I digress. So, okay, let me see. Is there anything else here with the moon? No, I think that's it. Okay, I'm going to move forward. So Friday, the moon's in Cancer, and Cancer wants security. It's intuitive and vulnerable, and it wants protection so that it can just be more vulnerable and open and psychic and secure like that. But basically, your only true security is within yourself and your intuition. And there's that opposition to Mercury in Capricorn, exact opposition, first thing in the morning. So if you're feeling insecure, do it anyway, is what I'm saying with Mercury. I mean, don't say it if it's mean, but if it's something you want to get done, try it anyway. Try it out. If it has to do with speaking because it's Mercury, right? Practice. Practice saying it out loud. Write it down, write it out, and then speak it. Try it that way. Because with Capricorn, we're talking, something solid and grounded, something concrete. Capricorn wants to be self-responsible. It wants to control. We want to control our minds. We don't want to listen to any more crap. We don't mind working hard. We have a strong sense of duty when we're in, thinking along Capricorn lines. And with this moon in tender Cancer, we're wanting to attach ourselves to something that's solid, and ways of thinking and communication that is solid and real. So I think our patience for lies and subterfuge and half-truths, which is still a lie, I think that we're just done. I think it's, we've got about this much patience, right? Like, not even. With Jupiter here squaring Venus, again, and this is a tight orb, 29 to 29, we're wanting to expand, but not at the expense of just to move, right? But then again, this could be good for exercise. It could be good for moving forward, like physical ways. But in artistic ways, then again, maybe it's just a lot of practicing that happens with this. Maybe it's just about practicing. Because Venus does want to create beauty. But it's Sag, it's usually like finding beauty traveling or finding beauty in other cultures, finding beauty in just the fact that you know what the truth is. That's beautiful. Because love and truth, absolute truth, are actually the same. You don't have one without the other. And maybe that's what we're really trying to invest in, is just like, because we've got a T-square going on with the moon is where I'm going with this. Jupiter's in T-square between Venus and the moon. So we can't expand and really, really heal. And Jupiter's it's at that late degree, next it'll be in Aries. And which I think it's the 12th, I think. I could be wrong. But anyway, when it moves into Aries, it's going to be a whole different experience. I don't even know. When it comes to Jupiter, it goes so big, so fast, that I don't even think we have to worry about retro shade, once it gets into Aries. I think it'll just feel normal. And notice how it's headed towards Chiron, so that healing energy to get into your deeper gifts is what's on the table. That's what's coming up for those of you who are doing the deep work. So believe in yourself. As long as you're aligning with love all the time, why would you not believe in yourself? So with the moon in this T-square, I think that there's the opportunity to get our heads on straight about something that really matters to us. And there's the opportunity to heal any deeper insecurities. And that's really beautiful. Because when you heal your deeper insecurities, you have your emotional foundation, your emotional security. And, we do that by healing the past. And then we have deeper roots, which is what Cancer's all about. The things that Cancer doesn't like is not being cared for, or people that just don't care about things, people who are careless. Cancers don't like, it's hard for them to let go of things and people that they love. But once they do, they find that they have greater, emotional security within. And then things are more free. So let's see, what else with the moon for today? Yeah, we're okay there. That's T-square. Yeah, in the opposition to Venus, it's more about just coming into reconciling something. I feel like we've got the Temperance card up here in the tarot, and we're feeling our way to unifying something deep within. Yeah. Let's see, in the other, well, we do have those two semi-squares, so there's action needed. Right. If people are lying, I think the action is to walk away. If people are trying to control the masses, we're going to be seeing it and talking about it with each other. And to the south, yeah, because we've had it. We're not doing that anymore. Yeah. What a culmination. It feels like a week of major culminations. So that was Friday morning, and now Friday night. Make sure this is straight here. Oh, there we go. Venus is now in Capricorn with Mercury. And we're talking strong, very, very strong, solid, divine feminine energy. And when I say feminine, I'm speaking to everyone, because everyone has divine feminine and divine masculine. Our divine feminine receives and our divine masculine gives. We all give and receive. And this comes in, Venus comes in to Capricorn, 7:55 p.m. Pacific. So that'd be 10:55 p.m. Eastern. And with that, you can see that the moon is still in opposition to Mercury. So again, we're still, I feel like this has the energy of, I only talk to people who tell me the truth. I'm only going to bother having conversations with people who care enough to listen to what I have to say. And if they're lying, I'm going to know it, and I'm just not going to do that anymore. And look at this bucket here, this aspect of the architect that has the ability to create something beautiful from the past and truly move forward into having the bliss, the experience of bliss in your life. And the moon is squaring Chiron, so there could be a little challenge this morning, or I'm sorry, this evening, late into the evening. What I would do with that is drop it into dream time. Tonight, this Friday night, I would say, December 9th, Friday night, when you go to sleep, I would say to set the intention. I hate telling people what to do, but this is what I would do with this energy. To set the intention, and something we could do every night, is to know on a deeper level anything that we need to heal within, and have your guides and guardian angels bring you that information and show you how to show you what it is, and then help you figure out how to heal it. If you know what it is, then there you go. So we're talking, dealing with like the causal reality. Like if you've been working on a health issue of any type, or an emotional issue, or which I always believe they're tied together, or a relationship issue, or maybe that is a religious issue that comes in a relationship. But any type of relating issue, any type of issue where you've had a hard time taking control of something in your life, anything like that you want to heal, drop it into dream time. That's what I'm seeing with this opportunity. Let's see, what else? Yeah, all the other aspects are the same, except the sun on Friday night is making, so we have two aspects of the architect here. That Saturn trine Mars is all week, but now with that aspect of the architect with the sun, this is just for probably a day or two. Is it not in there? Saturday, let's see. Yep. So for probably the rest of the weekend, because we're talking 18 to 20. Yeah. Friday, well, at least through Saturday. But I have a feeling it'll be through to Sunday as well. So the sun sextile Saturn gives us the opportunity to create something really solid and something we can move forward from. Like imagine if you want to jump on a trampoline. Sun and Sag, right? If you want to be outside on a big-ass trampoline in your backyard, you better have that thing on a solid foundation, right? That's what Saturn's about. And then you can really move around. So put that that's a metaphor you can put into your life. And it looks to me like Pluto has moved forward. Let's see, Sunday. Well, it's moved forward by. Took a whole week to go 8 minutes. See how it was at 26 degrees 52 minutes. It made it to 27. Took a whole week to go 8 minutes. That's how slow Pluto moves. Let's see, what else for the... Yeah. So with the moon in Cancer, there's a nice flow of energy to bring in some wisdom from the past and use it to move forward in the future. And there's that wonderful flow, like I said, to just bounce off to a whole new reality. But you got to have that solid foundation. That's at the bucket point there. Okay. And then, oh, did we talk enough about Venus and Capricorn? Well, here, I'll do that. I'll do that for Saturday, if I didn't already. Remember, Venus is all things that have to do with beauty, has to do with harmony, has to do with bringing things together, uniting things. It helps us to decide on what we want because it can help us figure out our values. And it also helps us to get what we want. It rules our relationships. It's all about our self-worth. It rules Taurus and Capricorn. And like I was saying, with Taurus, we're talking the jaw, so it does rule like how we taste things and what our tastes are. And all things sensual when it comes to Venus. In Venus, Taurus especially, but in Capricorn it brings in that need to, that longing, that want to have it be solid, to have it into form, right? So Taurus, the difference between Taurus and Capricorn is like Taurus brings in that, the idea, the principles, the art, the wanting things, but then Capricorn is like, oh, it has to be physical, right? Like I can see the art in my head. By the time it's to Capricorn, it's like I want to put it onto, something, whatever the media is. And Sag is very social. We're talking social media here with this polarity between Mars and Sag. So that's an important backdrop to hold on to. And then with the moon in Cancer, we still have, like I was saying before, we still have that aspect of the architect. So everything's the same there. But there's the trine over to Neptune, gives us some extra help spiritually with source energy. If there's any emotional healing work that needs to be done, this is a really easy weekend for it. And what else? Yeah, that Sun square Neptune is now coming in tighter, 18 to 22. Yeah, so it's okay if you feel confused. If any confusing energies come up, it's okay. It's just a tension field that I think is a part of life. But just keep coming back to yourself, back to your feelings, back to if there's any emotional release work to do, it's an excellent day for it. It's an excellent weekend for it, is what I'm feeling. Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else? Oh, check it out, you guys. See this? Here, wait. Let me find. There we go. See how we have a sextile here? So I'll just draw the whole thing in. There we go. That is a finger of fate. Finger of fate, finger of God, finger of destiny, whatever you want to call it. Or you could call it a finger of creativity. Because I think that's what God really is. Nothing's really well, some things are fated, but it's based on what you did in the past, right? Or what needs to happen in the future. The apex is the south node. The south node is the past. In Scorpio, it's about transformation, and especially transforming crisis from the past. It helps us to renew. It helps us to go deep. It helps us to stop betraying ourselves. It helps us to trust ourselves. It can be intense. And there's the connection to Mars, which has to do with, again, that spin and motivation, but it's about communication and learning. So I feel like this has something to do with learning about something. Now, this could be wisdom, but it could be pain. It could be wisdom that's gleaned through going through the pain, but it helps us to free something up so that we're thinking more clearly because something's clearing out from the past, because that's at the apex. And the opportunity is coming from our deepest wounding, but also our deepest gifts when we're dealing with Chiron. And Chiron in Aries is all about not wanting to be left out, needing to let go of being impulsive, needing to let go of abandonment issues, and the needy projections that we can put on people if we haven't healed our abandonment issues, and not abandoning ourselves, no matter what. If we don't abandon ourselves, we have ourselves, right? So that means if you're feeling lonely, feel your pain, and then you're not abandoning yourself in that pain. And then eventually you're not going to feel lonely anymore because you always have yourself. And that doesn't mean that you don't also have others. It just means you have yourself while you're with either just yourself or others, and or both. It's and. So that's what I think this is all about. And with that, I think we're done. I don't have anything more to say other than it's wonderful for dream time. It's wonderful for healing. It's wonderful for creativity. And yeah. So I'm going to end with that. Okay, thanks you guys. High five if you made it to the end. Bye.